Hello and welcome. I'm Monica Price and you're watching Cuppa TV. On today's show we meet one of the UK's very few deaf comedians, a Reverend who sings in a punk band, yes you heard that right, and we're heading off to the sunshine to Goa where Chef Manju cooks us a pork Vindaloo. My first guest is probably one of Britain's best known deaf comedians, who is one of the busiest performers around, playing to huge laughter around the country and abroad. He says he's more concerned with his success in the mainstream comedy circuit, and all the rave reviews that he has received nationally are a true testimony to his talent. Please give it up for the very talented Steve Day. Steve, welcome.
Thank you. I was passing.
Just
saw there was a coffee machine.
Quite right.
Here I am.
Come and join me for Cuppa TV. Quite right.
Big central towers.
Steve, I've got to ask your first question. Are you UK's first deaf comedian, or are there more?
Well, if there are any others, I haven't heard. No, there are a couple of other deaf comedians, but I'm the only one on the comedy circuit doing the UK clubs. And if there are any others start, I try and see them off as quickly. There can be only one.
Absolutely. And you can hear, how do you hear your audience? How do you react with your audience?
It's difficult. I'm severely, profoundly hard of hearing. It means I'm about 80% deaf.
Right.
Although sometimes I say I'm 85% just to add a bit of glamour. But mostly it's visual. I can hear a little bit with hearing aids. Mostly it's visual and experience and just kind of knowing, feeling what the audience is like. It's taken a long time to be able to
And
do
how
that.
long have you been a comedian?
Well, for about 15 years.
Fantastic.
But I've only been funny for about the last 5 years.
And where was your first gig?
Or it was in London years ago. We used to live in London. But I moved up to the West Midlands. We live in Sutton Coldfield, as we call it, the People's Republic of Sutton Coldfield. And it's fantastic here. But that was back in London in the last century, in the last millennium. And from then, it's just gone on from there, really.
And I mean, it's such an inspiration. Did you find that you use your deafness to actually put words into your comedy act? Do you use...
A bit. It's part of me.
Yes.
I'm not a deaf act, as in that's not what I talk about.
No.
And I've got 5 kids, for example, so they give me more material. So
absolutely.
I don't want to be banging on about it all the time.
No.
I've got a son. My son's just been diagnosed with ADHD.
Right.
But I made him watch our old telly, and now he's only got AD. So that gives me more, you know.
I think.
But I can't really talk about anything without deafness coming in a little bit, and plus makes you a bit more unique.
Absolutely.
You know, so why not make the most of it?
And what's the biggest audience you perform to?
Oh, 8,000 people.
Wow.
At the Paralympics, I hosted the event that received the Paralympic flame into the city of London. Although it was a problem because the torch was delayed, and they were waiting wanting the torch to arrive that they told me too early that the torch was on the way, and the local mayor started a countdown for the torch when the fellow was 100 metres away. Turns out he had cerebral palsy, so we're trying to make a guy with cerebral palsy run the 100 metres in the same time as Usain Bolt.
No.
So, apart from that, it was great.
And do you when you're writing your comedy material, what inspires you?
Well, it's different. Whatever's happened in my life, what's interesting to me. I like to change things all the time, do different things. Living around here, for example, in West Midlands, in Sutton Coldfield is so lovely, and it's so posh compared to where we used to live in London. We used to live in Lewisham.
Oh, did you?
And you could tell the newspaper headlines of the 2 places. The last headline in Lewisham, before we left, said, "Head found in dustbin." Head found in, and not like it was a surprise, it was more like they put it in the wrong bin. Because a head is biodegradable. And if you get to Sutton Coldfield, the first story was Whitley swimming pool evacuated, suspected poo floating in the water. So I thought, that's the worst thing that happens here. And they got 2 weeks out of this in Sutton Coldfield. It's the second week said, swimming pool mystery solved. It was a Twix-based hoax. So that's how lovely it is. That's the sort of thing that inspires me.
Do you enjoy living in the West Midlands?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's such an undiscovered gem. It's our life in London, this is twice as good here. There's so many things. People keep it a secret, don't they? The West Midlanders are, we're keeping it a secret. We don't want people coming up from London
What do you
joining
think that is?
But I don't know. There's something about the West. It's so dry and funny and brilliant here. But people are they are so dry that they don't want to blow their own trumpet, you know. I think it's really nice. That's why I like the West Midlands, the humour and people's friendliness. It's a quiet, unstated, not flashy. I think it's fantastic.
And how do people, you know, react when you tell them you're deaf? Do you tell them you're deaf when you go onto the stage?
Yeah, I have to start it off because things might happen. I might get heckled and I won't hear it, and people think, oh, he's not responding to that. So I hate to be, me, deaf, and I don't really do that, but a little bit at the start, just to get people at ease and know what it is. And then once you get people laughing, they don't care.
No.
People don't care if you're deaf or blind, you know, or whatever, male, female, black, white, doesn't matter. If you're funny, you're funny, and if you're not,
absolutely.
You're not,
And what's been your favourite gig?
I think performing abroad. I've been around quite a lot, milking the deafness scene. I've been in Denmark. I did some gigs in Rome. It was beautiful, but on the final, I had 3 nights. The final night, the power failed, and they said, "We can't do it." No, not possible, not possible. I can't do it. But I said, well, surely you've been entertaining people here for over 2,000 years, haven't you? So we did it by candlelight. It was the best thing I'd ever done.
Wow.
The trouble was, I was so crammed in with the people that they wanted me to do an encore, but I couldn't get off. There were so many people. You have to get off to do an encore.
No.
So I had to kind of swivel and do one, kind of extemporise an encore standing up. But the encores is terrible because I never know.
Yes.
So I did a golf club. It was lovely. A golf club do. And I was changing.
No.
And I put my driving sweater on, which has got bits of Monster Munch on it and God knows what. And then the steward, had to come and get me. So I went back on. I had no shoes on. My shoes with Monster Munch on, but they liked me. And so it worked out okay.
Well, Steve, it's been an absolute delight
to
see you. It's gone so quick. You'll have to come back again.
I will
come
do.
back again?
I'm desperate. I can sit there.
Quite right. Come and join me again. Steve, thank you so much. It's been lovely to meet
Central
you.
TV.
Thank you.
I can't believe I've made it. Me and Crossroads.
Yay!
Brilliant. Crossroads and Bowls.
What can we say? Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for the coffee.
Now, my next guest is a vicar who struts his stuff as a frontman of a punk rock band. Complete with dog collar, he regularly bouts out his punk tunes in front of his parishioners. Let's say a very big hello to the punk rock vicar, Reverend Phil Chu. Reverend, it's so lovely to see you. Thank you for coming. And it's just such a wonderful thing. When I heard about you, I thought this is just a great guest and it'd be wonderful to chat to you to find out exactly how you came about being a reverend and then moved into music.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So let's start with that. Was it passion for music first? Was that?
Yes, I've always been passionate about music all my life, and Graham, who's the lead guitarist in my band, we started the band off together when we were 18 years old, and so we had a single out way back when on vinyl in those days, and believe it or not, and then we went away to do different things. I ended up becoming a vicar. He ended up with an engineering company working in engineering. The bass player became an optician, and then we decided to reform about 10 years ago, so that's why we call it Revisit. We're kind of revisiting something from the past, but also it's like, Rev, is it?
Yeah, excellent play on the words, I've got that. And what does the church think of you singing?
They don't mind at all. I mean, they're very supportive, actually, and that's the church as a whole. And, you know, I mean, we're a punk band. We like to call ourselves bright Brit punk. We're not as dark as other punk might be.
So your genre is bright Brit
punk.
Okay.
Bright Brit punk, yeah, which is, it's tongue-in-cheek, quite satirical, but it's still a bit of a laugh.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, what do you think your parishioners think about your band? Do they know?
Yeah, they know, yes. I mean, one of my parishes we play quite frequently in Clonarmon and Yal in North Wales, and the Raven pub there, we enjoy playing there, and they put the band up if they've travelled over from Lancashire and so on.
Oh,
so yeah, it's good.
So do you disconnect from the punk rock band when you're speaking as a reverend, or do you find the two just come together?
I think they come together. I mean, whether I'm sort of preaching from a pulpit, or whether I'm talking down the microphone at a concert or even a festival or whatever, I'm trying to get across a happy message, really. So I mean, you know, it's not. There's no conflict between the two.
And is it lovely that music is a powerful message, isn't it? It can be. Do you feel that as well?
Oh, it is. Yeah, very much so. And it reaches people. Of course, you know, my churches are fairly well attended, but I mean, you know, there is this sort of mantra that goes on about people. Why don't people not go to church anymore? Well, they do actually, but still, when you go into these other areas, you know, it's an opportunity, and people come to me after and say, "Oh, you're not a vicar, really? Because you can't possibly be, because you're in a punk band. You know, how can you be a vicar?" But yeah, I am.
But it's fantastic. And what sort of things do you sing about?
Well, I mean, at the moment we've got a record out which you can download from iTunes called Dennis the Menace and Me, which is quite satirical about where the life is at the moment. I mean, it's got little sort of, for example, speed cameras, Facebook, and fat fracking bankers in it. It's Dennis the Menace and me. So
fantastic.
people have to make that clear when I'm actually
yes,
saying fat
yes.
fracking
You don't
bankers.
want to, yes, exactly. Be very precise on that. And what's the message? What message do your songs give?
Well, they are satirical, so they're a comment on society, on life as it is at the moment. We have a song called Under Attack. We have, you know, which is pretty much about what's going on in the world at the moment. We have political song as well. At the moment, we've got a song out called Should He Stay or Should He Go, which is all about our beloved Prime Minister, David Cameron. Should he stay, should he go, especially at the moment when he...
But we're going to come back to you after the break. So
Right,
if you'd like to join us after the break and come back and we'll talk some more with Reverend Phil. Welcome back. I'm here with Reverend Phil. Phil, it's been fascinating talking to you already, but let's explore a little bit more into the fact that you're a vicar and you're a punk rocker in a band. How do your parishioners think about that?
They're happy. I mean, they already knew when I arrived that I play in a band, so I mean, it's not something that I've suddenly sort of thrust upon them or anything. It's been a part of my life, really, all the way through from 18. So, you know, and the reason why it's that genre, I guess, is because we're from that era originally. That was our thing. So, you know, we set out in that particular genre, so that's what we've perfected. And,
yes.
You know.
And you look after 5 churches, so you're very much a full-time vicar.
I am.
So how do you put your vicar head on, for want of a better word, and then come into your punk rocker world, which is 2 completely different worlds?
Well, I think everybody needs a hobby. Everybody needs to have some escapism. Some might want to go fishing. Some might want to go, you know, playing golf. I mean, I play in a band. I'm actually the area dean of the Vale of Clwyd, so I actually have oversight over 13 parishes. So, which is it's a beautiful part of the world in Clwyd. But you know, but I do, you know, I feel that I am allowed to have time off and time out, and hence, though I'm going to have a sabbatical May, June, and July this year, where I'm hoping to promote my music and do a tour and so on with the band.
And the church supportive of that?
Yes, yes.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Because that gives you the opportunity to do both things that you're passionate about.
Yes, it does.
And how do you feel when you do weddings and funerals as a vicar?
Yes.
So again, is that very difficult for you to kind of split those worlds sometimes?
I mean, you know, it's a way of life being a vicar. It's not. You don't clock in and clock out. So things happen all the time. You get a telephone call and somebody might be taken ill or something might need to go to the hospital. Yes, funerals. Sometimes I can do three or 4 a week, which can be quite draining, really. Weddings, they're really quite happy occasions, and baptisms, of course. But weddings are really quite. They can be quite stressful, weddings, I have to say.
Can they?
Yeah, you've got.
Tell us why.
Well, the couple have been planning this for maybe 12 months, maybe longer. This is the big day, and you're the person that's trying to make this to come together. You're always mindful of the fact that if it could be on camera, you could end up on some television program that's gone wrong. The whole thing's gone wrong somewhere. But we've had. I've been fortunate to have some really interesting weddings. You know, I did a Coronation Street star's wedding once, which was really quite interesting. Because the strangest thing about that was the church was full of Coronation Street actors, Emmerdale actors, and this is going back some time. There's some members from the Bill as well. Like, so all in the church, and it's the most surreal experience to stand there and everybody you're looking at from some television program, and you think, is this a dream? You know? But,
you must have thought you were on some kind of set.
yeah.
I mean, and again, has anybody actually asked you to play at their wedding?
Well, we do have requests because perhaps it's to do with the genre of music. I don't know. We tend to be invited to play a lot at 50th birthday parties and 40th birthday parties, but we will play at weddings. But I guess punk isn't necessarily what one wants to dance to, is it? You know.
Yeah, great genre of music though. And what about if you you're launching an album? You said in the summer of this year.
Yes.
So what if you reached chart success so much so that you'd have to give up becoming a vicar? Well, not becoming a vicar, give up being a vicar. How would you feel about that? I
think primarily a vicar is a priest in the Anglican communion, and so once a priest, always a priest. So that will never change. Of course, I've been a priest in various parishes from England through over to Wales. So I mean, it's always evolving. You go wherever God directs you, and whatever if God's hand's in it, then that's what will happen. So if it takes off, well then we'll just put it in God's hands and see where that goes. But I mean, I'll still be a priest. and I love the job because they say it's a way of life.
And you've played at some amazing places. Tell us where you've actually played as a band.
Well, we like to play in unusual places. We're the only band ever to play at the top of Blackpool Tower.
Oh, really?
Was,
that's amazing.
Live on BBC television, which was quite interesting because they've changed the top of the tower now, but there used to be a glass floor. You can stand on it and look right down. It's called the Walk of Faith, you know, because people just don't want to step on the glass floor.
Yes.
And right down at the bottom, there used to be a little outline of a man painted in yellow, like it's looking. And so we just stand there, and then 1, 2, 3, you're on, and play and sing live. You know, I'm banging away on this Leslie Fox. I can't help that when I heard this cracking noise. I thought, what's that? And it was the lead, but trying to keep cool because it was going out live on television. And that was really quite freaky. We've played in Kirkham Prison a couple of times to the
really
inmates.
Unusual gigs.
Yeah, which went down very well, especially when you do, you know, I fought the law and the law won, which is, and we've also played Menwith Hill, which is a military air base there, which is there's a sort of a yellow line there, which if you cross, apparently you can be arrested, because then it's. So we played on the yellow line. Is
it something that you do then? Do you go for the unusual gigs? Is that what is that the unusual places to actually perform?
Yes,
is that something you like to do?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're hoping to play on Blackpool Front in April to promote our singles, Should He Stay, Should He Go, and Dennis the Menace and Me, because we recorded the video in Blackpool. We want to do that live on the back of a wagon for the punters that come around Blackpool.
I mean, your life must be incredibly busy. These two lovely careers that you have, I mean, must make your life so incredibly busy. So if I was to say to you, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, what would your answer be?
You never know. You never know. I might not even be here. I mean, especially when you know how mortal we are. You know, and when you do 3 funerals a week, you know, it's like every day is a blessing. So that's how I look at it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Phil. It's been a real pleasure, and good luck with everything in your band.
Thank you.
And finally, on Cuppa TV today, we head off to one of my favourite places, Goa, where cookery writer and chef Manju Malhi cooks up a mouth-watering pork vindaloo. Sounds lovely. And remember, if you would like to get in touch with us, you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV, or email the show. We'd love to hear from you. Until the next time on Cuppa TV, bye-bye.
I'm going to show you how to make a vindaloo, and this is a pork vindaloo and not a chicken one, which you may have found in restaurants abroad, because here I am in Goa, which is the home of the vindaloo, and traditionally it's made with pork. And for the marinade, I've got some root ginger, cumin seeds, dried red Kashmiri chilies, garlic, cloves, cinnamon or cassia bark, peppercorns, and some turmeric. You blend all the ingredients up and you create a paste. It's this lovely, rich red paste. And here are the remaining ingredients. I've got some tamarind, some coriander leaves, a bit of water, some oil, vinegar, pork, and some onions. So first off, I'm going to marinate my pork. Now this is quite fiery hot, although Kashmiri chilies are normally mild, but the peppercorns add to the heat. Mix it up and allow this to marinate for about a couple of hours or overnight in a fridge, but make sure you cover this mixture. Over here, I've got a pan. I've heated the pan up and I'm going to carefully add my oil. Now I'm using sunflower oil here, and that's feeling quite warm, so I'm going to add my onions. And fry those for about 5 to 7 minutes. And once they're nice and brown, I'm going to add my pork. Now the marinade, which is blended in a blender, can be stored in the fridge covered for about 7 days. Fry the pork until it's white on the outside. Now marinating is a great way of getting the spices to seep right through to the center of the meat pieces. And if you do cut a piece of pork in half before cooking it, you'll be able to see that the meat is red because all the spices have gone through. And I can see that the pork pieces on the outside are changing colour. So the sealing of the meat has taken about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to add some water. Give it a mix, and you let that cook on a medium heat for about 20 to 25 minutes until the meat is tender. And once the pork's been cooking and it's become tender, I'm going to add my tamarind water. And some vinegar. Now this is Goan vinegar, which is coconut vinegar, but you can add malt vinegar if you like. Let that simmer for a couple of minutes more, and then it's ready to serve. Now, traditionally in Goa, vindaloos are eaten with bread and even chips, would you believe? This is a delicious red colour. It's fantastic. That's how a vindaloo should look like. And finally, some coriander leaves for a bit of garnish. And there you have it, your pork vindaloo.